everyone. It is Money Monday. Yay! I'm so excited. I love Money Mondays because it's when I get to talk to you about whatever it is that I am thinking about that week. And this week is a week that's super important to me because it's something that anyone can take advantage of, and it's something so simple that can make such a huge difference for you. So, our guest today, I cannot wait to have him on, Gilberto Herrera, and you will hear from him and about all the amazing things that he does a little bit later. But today, what we're going to be talking about is getting interested in savings and really trying to make your money start to work for you. Because in your average, regular savings account, I want you to go take a look at what you're making on the money that is in there. Because I can assure you that unless you are paying attention to this, unless you are somebody that has already heard me talk about this, here's Gilberto. I'm going to bring him on. Unless you already heard me talking about this, chances are you're not making much. Hi, Gilberto.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm extremely well.
Awesome. So I was just introducing today's topic to everyone. But before we go into today's topic, let's talk about you. So,
I'm not as interested as you. What
oh,
would you like for me to tell the viewers about it? I'm actually in the process of inviting everyone I can to this while I'm sitting here talking to you. So,
amazing. So tell the viewers who you are, a little bit about what you do, and how you feel about today's topic.
my name is Gilberto Herrera. I was born in the beautiful country of Panama. I actually was raised in Brooklyn, New York, and now I live in Birmingham, Alabama. So my personal goal and my personal mission is to help everyone live the life they want through their finances, through business, and live the best life possible. So, how do I do that? I own a real estate investment firm in Birmingham, Alabama. So we buy and rent property all over the state. I also have a business consulting firm, which I work with Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies. Now I'm in the process of expanding those services out to smaller businesses. You know, we definitely those are the ones that really make the world go round. In addition to that, I run the financial literacy program for the Birmingham Urban League out here. So, I work with so many institutions and nonprofits and just the general public to spread financial literacy within, inner city and to, spread that information to those that are underserviced.
Amazing. I'm so happy that you're here because we spoke about it a little bit. I am all for teaching financial literacy and especially helping small businesses thrive because that is the way of the future, right?
Absolutely.
We don't want to have to depend on, the big corporations in order to make a living, but rather these small mom and pops are coming back, and I'm so happy that you're doing that, that we can get them functioning at the same kind of level that the Fortune 500s are.
Absolutely. And that's the goal is, as long as we have information and we apply the information, I don't see why we should fail or why we could fail.
I love it. I love it.
So
So we spoke a little bit about today's topic, which is getting interested in savings, and you had some info that you were talking to me about regarding it. So What do you have for our viewers today?
So let me just pull up the statistics so that we can be on par. Only 39% of Americans have enough money to cover $1,000 emergency.
Oh. Yeah.
So that means that if something happens to the average person, they're either going to try to borrow it or they're scrambling trying to figure things out. You remember what happened in 2008? So we don't want that to happen anymore. That's
No.
why it's important. And before we continue, can you ask your viewers to please share this so that we
Yes.
can we can keep this? Because we don't, we don't get things like this on a daily. So when we do come together, I feel like it's vital that we reach the masses.
Yes. So
So if,
anyone who's watching now or on the replay, please share this. Please tag all of your friends in the comments. Let's spread this message so that we can talk about really becoming financially literate and talk about how we can all make sure that we do have the money if some disaster happens and that we're not stuck trying to borrow it from banks that need to get bailed out. Like,
right, right, absolutely. Now we can flip that and take the money the bank lends us and use it to make more money. That's the caveat to it. This
yes,
so I'm not against borrowing, but it's just how you borrow, what you do with the
exactly.
money that you're borrowing.
I love it. Yeah.
So I see a couple people from Alabama that signed on.
Yay. I'm so excited. This is a totally different. Most of my viewers are in like New York, New Jersey area. So I'm super excited to have Alabama tune in.
Right.
All right. So, some of the things that I wanted to share today was just how big of a difference you can you can get in your savings account by moving it over to an online bank or a credit union. And I know me personally, I think I've shared this before, but it always amazes me every single time I say it. I When I moved my money from a brick and mortar bank to an online bank, I made more in 1 month in interest than I did the entire previous year. So like I just want that to sink in for people. When I was in a brick and mortar, it was absolute. I was making nothing on my money. My money was not making, it was not working for me. It was not doing anything for me. It was just sitting there. And and we spoke about this a little bit before, Gilberto, that with today's inflation rate, if it's not making money, then you're losing money.
So the average interest rate of a savings account is 0.09% APY. So that's like a, almost a tenth of a percent.
Oh,
So
it's
you're pretty
horrible.
much, you're not even making a penny off of a penny.
Yeah.
So
And
can you
sorry.
share a little bit about your experience? I know you said you were able to make a whole lot more just switching over from a brick and mortar to an online bank. Can you tell us a little bit more about that experience? Because I'm interested in knowing how it's been beneficial for you, and how can our viewers take advantage of those savings as well.
Yeah. So, I am looking at my money all the time, and I know that, but I do like to do things efficiently. So, my one of my favorite websites is nerdwallet.com. And I use them because they actually compare savings accounts, they compare checking accounts, credit cards, so that you know which ones have the best rates. So what I did is I did a best savings account search on NerdWallet, looked up who was giving the best interest rate on a savings account, and it was an online bank. The sign up process was super easy. It took me like 5 minutes. I signed up, moved my money, and I, instead of making, I think I was making 0.001 on
Wow.
my money, and I ended up making 2.3% or 2.5% was the introductory rate. Um, and it was a huge difference for me. And ever since then, I do this like on a yearly basis, sometimes every 6 months, but like at least every single year, I look into what are the best savings accounts today, and should I be moving my money?
Hmm.
And should I be, going to a different bank, a different account? And with online banks, they make it so easy. Like it is so easy to move your money. They're FDIC insured, but they don't have all of the overhead that a regular brick and mortar would have, and so they're able to give much better rates. I know there
That's
are some that will even like they'll waive, they'll reimburse you for like ATM fees and stuff like that. And all of that data you can find on nerdwallet.com, because it's something like it's one of the ways that they compare different accounts.
awesome. Awesome. So you're saving. You're to the point where you're allowing your money to work for you. But the common issue that we have is most people aren't able to save. Most people aren't able to put back. That statistic that I shared earlier. The average American can't cover $1,000, emergency.
Yeah.
So let a, I'm gonna give you another stat. The average American can't even cover a $400 emergency. So how do we get to the point where we are able to put back and take advantage of those savings through, online banks and credit unions that you're taking advantage of?
Yeah, so I love this question because it comes to my favorite tip. Um, People tend to wait until they have enough money to save. And I don't believe in that at all. I believe that every single person, no matter what, has money to save every week. Whether it's a dollar or $5, or I mean, I came from super humble beginnings where I went around with my mother in parking lots and picked up plastic bottles to return for 5 cents, and that's what was in my first savings account. I would go around, return plastic bottles for 5 cents, and that money was my money. That was the money that I could put in a savings account. And that's where it started for me. So I know that everyone can do it. We spend like $1.99 on stupid things all the time. Like a pack of gum is more than a dollar at this point. So
Absolutely.
so if you're gonna just spend $1 on a pack of gum, spend that dollar on a pack of gum, but take another dollar and I want you to move it into your savings account. I think that it's, you set up automatic transfers on a weekly basis of a super low amount that you're not even going to feel. And that's how you start.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna give you an example of that because it always goes back to a mindset, right? Most of us spend before we even get our money, it's already spent. So I was working with someone probably about a month ago, and they have a nice house, $500,000 house. They have 2 or 3 car notes, nice cars. They, on paper and to the average person, they look like they're living the life. But after we started crunching all the numbers, they have $200 left until they get paid again every 2 weeks. So I don't think it's necessarily the mindset of bringing in more. It's just managing what you have. If you don't know how to manage 100, you won't be able to manage 1 million.
Exactly.
And most of us live to impress the next person, especially if we didn't have anything growing up. We come from, like you said, humble beginnings. Once we do start earning money, we want to acquire all the things that make us feel good. So we don't necessarily look at what it really takes to build wealth. We want to look like we're doing well instead of actually sacrificing today, to be wealthy tomorrow or to have, more and more tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think it all comes down to priorities, right? Like you could have certain things that you want to have and you want to splurge on because those things are important to you, but it can't be everything. Like you
Right,
need to have your priorities straight. What is important to you?
right. So
What
what is the
what
first step in prioritizing, like to
so
the
if
average person that's looking at this and it's like, man, I make X amount of dollars, I should be doing well, but I'm really struggling.
you got to look at where you're spending your money now. You have
Yeah.
to look at your reality. That's
Well,
like the biggest thing.
I think
Pull
before
out the
that,
credit card. Yeah,
I think before that you need to figure out exactly how much you have coming in every month and when it comes in. A lot. Just look at your overall financial picture because once you know what you have coming in, then you start evaluating where it goes. You know, most of us, our biggest expenses are food that we can get rid of, food and entertainment. So I think we need to start reevaluating how much we have coming in, not what it says on on your salary, but like net after
yeah.
taxes. What do you have every
What's on
month
your
coming
pay
in?
stub?
Exactly. And
Yeah,
once you start I think once you start looking at that, it starts changing your mindset. Once you really focus in on those numbers, then you start making better decisions. Because I know a lot of people, they get paid and they swipe that card until it's gone. They don't budget, they don't do any of those things.
yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I absolutely. I think you need to know where you're starting from to be able to know how you're going to win the race, right? You can't win a race if you haven't if you don't know where the starting line is. So, understanding what your reality is, understanding what's coming in and where it's going and starting to be intentional with where you spend is super important. And sometimes I even tell people to like eliminate the cards for a little bit and put themselves on like a cash diet and just take out the amount of cash that they need that they budgeted to spend and just use that because it's a totally different experience than swiping a card. When you swipe the card, you don't see it, you don't feel it, it's not important. You don't think about how much you're spending. But when it's actual physical cash leaving your wallet, it feels different. It hurts a little bit more. And
Absolutely.
you get a chance to like think about it like, oh, do I
Psychologically, it does something because it's like dwindling right in your hands.
exactly. It's
It's
like,
10.
do I really need this? I don't
Right, cash is
know.
extreme. It sounds like the dog wants to jump on live as well.
Yes, he does.
So,
He's very interested in what's happening right now. I
all right,
haven't paid
so
attention to him.
for those that are just tuning in, we're talking about budgeting and savings. So if you are just jumping on, please share this with your feed. So my friend on the other side of this phone might have something special for you. So
Yes.
so again, this is vital information. This is information that we need to be discussing. This is not something that we get at school. Most of us don't get it at home either. So it's important that we come together and empower each other with this information, but more so apply it.
Yeah, and I think another mindset shift that's really important for people is to understand the concept of paying themselves first.
Absolutely. That's rule number one. By
Yeah,
all
and
by all means, pay yourself first. Not the debt, the debt collectors, you know, not the banks. Pay yourself first.
exactly. And really carve out money for yourself before you carve out for any other expense.
Right. You work
Uh,
hard for it. You work hard for it, so there's no reason why you shouldn't pay yourself.
Exactly. So that's the money that you're putting into your savings accounts. That those are the investments that you're creating. That is your future. That is the money that's going to work for you. And I do want to let everyone know that we're gonna pick a viewer, whoever shares this, we are going to pick a viewer and they are going to get a special gift from me. So please share this and spread this message because I'm super excited to be here with Gilberto and talking about things that are so vitally, vitally important to our future.
So I got some more questions for you because I know this is like a
Yeah,
topic that you're fired up about.
yeah,
So what are your thoughts on, we talked a little bit about the mindset of what it takes. So what do you tell someone that thinks they got to have it all together right now? What do you tell that person, especially like your current clients? How do you change that mindset from trying to get rich quick or trying to look rich quick to building long-term wealth that can't be destroyed?
yeah. The first thing is if you wait until it's perfect, you've waited too long. So start now, do it in small amounts, and do it often. Start paying yourself immediately. If that's $5 a week, or $10 a week, or $20 a week, whatever it is you're not going to feel, I want you to start an automatic transfer and move that amount into a savings account every single week without you thinking about it. Start that money flowing. Then, if you haven't felt that after a month, 2 months, set up another automatic transfer and just keep going. And before you know it, you are going to be saving, investing, learning how to gradually live on less because it's just not going to be in your checking account for you to spend. And it's going to be your emergency fund. It's going to be the investment that you're making in yourself, and really try to make things, give things a purpose, give things a goal. Like when I was trying to buy my condo, my savings account was called my house. Like now when I was saving to redo my kitchen, my savings account was called new kitchen. Like make sure that you have an emotional goal tied to it because that'll make you look at saving that money in a different light because now it won't be, oh, I'm not going out to eat right now because I don't have any money. No, it's I'm not going out to eat tonight because I'm going to have a brand spanking new kitchen in 6 months, you
So
know?
basically what you're saying is pay the price today so you can pay whatever price tomorrow.
Yeah, and find out like what it is, get really specific about what it is that you want in your life. Do you want a new house? Do you want to remodel your kitchen? Do you want to start a business? Do you want an emergency fund? And if so, how much money do you want in it? Like, I want you to get super, super specific about what it is that you want in your life, tie it to an emotional goal, and then go for it with
So
everything you have.
awesome. So I'm gonna get a little controversial with you,
Yes.
since we're talking money, right? And when I start talking like this, bankers and big corporations, they look at me crazy. So one of the first things I tell the people that I work with, especially if they don't have a mortgage, it's not to get one, not right away. Because when you break the word mortgage down, does anyone on this live know what the actual word mortgage means?
Hmm.
So,
Let's.
what does the root word mort mean? Mort. It means
I don't know.
death.
Oh, I thought it might.
Yeah. So, a mortgage. if you break the word down within itself, and you can look this up, this is not something I'm making up. It means to engage in death. So
Whoa.
banks created mortgages to keep you tied down to one place for a long time. It's just marketed throughout the American dream to make it seem as if it's an asset. But if you break down a mortgage on your balance sheet, it's really not an asset. It's actually a liability because it's taking money out of your pocket and and giving it to somebody else. Now to that financial institution that holds your mortgage, it really it's an asset to them because they're making money off of it.
Right.
So when when someone comes to me and says my house is an asset, and I ask them, well, how are you making money off of your house? They don't. They tell me, oh no, I'm not making money off of it. It's just an asset. No, it's really not an asset. So if you don't have a mortgage, my first thought to them is, before you go get that mortgage, go build some wealth so that then you can go buy the house that you want without having to get a mortgage. Why is it that you can pay for a $50,000 car in 7 years, but a $50,000 mortgage takes you 15 or 30 years? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So educate yourself on the things, on the vehicles that you're going to, so-called invest in before you start going into it. You know, so I
And
would say
especially
to
if you're going to take a mortgage, think
right,
about think about doing it on an income producing property,
right,
right? If you're going to do it, think about how you can make that property make
make you some
money
money.
for you. Yeah.
Absolutely. So my accountant is actually watching, and he just put
Oh,
he in the comments. He actually just put a mortgage equal debt.
yes, it does.
So but again, it's how things are marketed to you. You know, we're emotional creatures. We're emotional beings. So things such as a mortgage, the biggest asset that I own, it's really not an asset. It's the biggest liability you have because you have to pay your mortgage. You have to, hold all the maintenance and the repairs and taxes and insurance and everything that comes along with it. And a lot of the times when I work with my clients and we start breaking down rent versus, having a mortgage, a lot of the times rent is cheaper. But rent has this connotation that is bad when really and truly it doesn't have to be. Sometimes having access is better than being an owner. I like to fly on a jet, but do I want to own a jet? Do I want the liability of a jet? You know,
No.
do I really need to have this liability on me at all times? Now I'm not against home ownership. I'm just saying before you think about tying yourself down to a 15 or 30-year mortgage, start building wealth because a lot of the times that's the biggest expense someone has. They make
Yep.
$2,000 a month, but they're paying $1,200 and $1,500 a month in a mortgage.
Yeah.
Just because you can qualify for it doesn't mean that you should just jump right on it.
And that I think is for any kind of debt that you should think about. Like just because the bank has given you a credit card that gives you a $10,000 limit doesn't mean that you should be using all of that $10,000 limit. And
Right, and that actually brings your score down, your credit
yeah,
score down.
exactly.
So
Exactly. So really it's just what we're saying is become educated. Start
absolutely,
to think about financial literacy as something that is going to change your life and help
yes.
you build wealth.
I use this analogy all the time. Start planting money trees. Initially those trees are seeds, and you have to put them in the ground, and you have to water them, and you have to continue to take care of them. In the beginning, you might not see any progress. However, eventually, that that seed becomes a tree that you don't have to water, and eventually, it's going to provide shade for you. It's gonna bear fruit, and you won't have to do anything but ensure that someone else doesn't come and steal it.
Yeah. I have to say that as you're talking, I keep remembering a book I read a while ago, Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Oh,
and I think
absolutely,
and I think that that's also if you have read that book, or if you haven't, you should, because he really gets to the bottom of why always being financially literate and continuing to learn about money is so important to building wealth, and is so important to being able to create the kind of generational wealth
Right.
that you want to leave your family with.
Absolutely. And in that book, he had his actual biological dad was the poor dad, and his neighbor's dad was his rich dad who taught him how to build wealth. And they lived, two completely different lifestyles. One was highly educated through the educational system. Was I think he was the director of a college or something.
He was a professor. I think he was a professor in a college and had tenure, and like
Yeah, but
eventually moved into something else within the college. But yeah, he had reached like the higher echelons of, education and working in, I guess, government.
yeah. So if anyone has any questions on this feed, feel free to ask away as well.
Yeah.
So
If you have
Jared,
questions, either now or even on, if you're watching it on the replay, ask away and we will answer.
Jared said debt is the setup. The bigger picture is to save and own. So I would say don't look at debt as a bad thing. There's good debt and there's bad debt. You know, you can go to a bank and get a loan to purchase income producing real estate and not use a dime of your money. So your return on investment is infinity. Meanwhile the bank is footing all the, taking all the risk. So that's one way of looking at how you can use debt, leverage debt, and make it work for you. You know, I know I use my personal credit as a means to create income for me versus, taking out department store credit cards and blowing it on things that I'm not gonna need and that depreciate in value.
Yeah.
And also Jared, don't just save to save. Have your rainy day fund, or you know, but more importantly, save, and when you get enough, put that money to work, because as we were talking earlier, $100 in 2019 is not going to be $100 in 2020. The cost of living is consistently going up. So, and that, but with that, the value of the American dollar is constantly losing value because they continue to print way more and more. So the more you have, the less is worth. I would say look at this video by Ray Dalio called "How the Economic Machine Works." It's a 30-minute video, and he breaks down exactly how the economy works and why we have bubbles that burst and things of that nature. It's very informative,
I've,
and you know I learned a lot just by watching that 30-minute video.
and we will post the link to that video in the comments as well, so that everybody could take a look at it and watch it. I'll also post the book that we were discussing a little bit earlier.
Rich
So
Dad Poor
if you
Dad.
miss anything, yeah, if you miss anything, don't worry. We got
We
you. It's gonna be in the comments.
so I'm waiting to see if anyone's gonna ask any questions. But aside from that, what else did you want to share with your viewers as far as savings is concerned? What are some things they can start implementing right away to start taking advantage of some saving opportunities, or be at least be able to put back and be able to cover anything that happens as it stands right now, because as we said earlier, most Americans can't cover a $400 emergency.
Yeah. So I just want to reiterate, like, you don't have to wait, because that is the thing that I hear so often of, like, I'm gonna wait until after I buy birthday presents, or I'm gonna wait until I get my tax refund, or I'm gonna wait until I have enough money to save. And I think that is the biggest disservice that we're doing,
Right.
because your money needs time. Like, when you're putting it into investments, or when you're putting it into savings accounts, that that interest rate needs to compound, and it needs time to do that. And by waiting, you're depriving yourself of so much more money that you could have. And it's just changing your mindset to be something a little bit different, to put yourself first instead of paying your bills first, instead of buying that birthday present first. Try to make things more meaningful. That material item that you're going to purchase is not going to make you as happy as having time with your loved one or doing an amazing experience. I know it seems like counterintuitive. You think, oh, with this brand new iPad, I'm going to get so much use out of it, so it's going to make me so super happy. But the happiness from material things fades so quickly. But when you
Absolutely.
use that money to do something with your family, when you use that, honestly, when you're doing it with your loved ones, you don't have to spend as much. You're not going to be spending the $1,000 that you would have spent on the iPad. You're going to have an amazing day at an amusement park with your family, and it's going to mean so much more. And the memories from it are going to be so much more intense and last way longer than the enjoyment that you're going to get out of that new toy.
Right.
So,
Put it to work for you. You know,
yeah.
how do you take what you save and make it create, 10% return on investment every month? So for instance, you take $1,000. How do you take that $1,000 and it's paying you back? What's 10% of $1,000? At least $100 a year. And then before you know it, that $1,000 becomes $100,000, and then you start yielding, you know, 10% of $100,000, which is $10,000, and that's what you call compound interest. If you don't know what that is, start, talk to your financial advisor, talk to your accountant, talk to someone such as yourself, and they can point you in the right direction of the vehicles that create compound interest. Warren Buffett, which is by far one of the world's most wealthiest man, they asked him, you give your formula away for to everyone free. How come no one's rich? And he says, well, nobody wants to get rich slow. Everybody wants to get rich quick. They don't let compound interest do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. They're constantly trying to pull the money here, pull it out,
So
time the market.
let me ask you this. Let's get controversial again.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on 401ks?
So I say put in only as much as your employer will match. I have had way more success investing on my own than I have had with a 401k. I have a Roth IRA that I max out, and I no longer have a 401k. I
I,
literally put only in it as much as my former employer would match, which was basically to me like, hey, they're willing to give me some money, so I'm gonna take whatever they're willing to give me, and that was it. And then I
but
rolled it over.
I took all the money out of my 401k and started buying real estate with it.
Yeah.
So I like to, when I'm investing and when I'm saving, I like to have what you call leverage. So if I'm not in control of that vehicle, I don't touch it. And usually, a lot of people have their 401k on autopilot, and they get not. In addition to that, there are so many fees within that 401k that are hidden that people don't even consider. I remember when I was with my former employer and we had a 401k. I knew I counted about 10 to 15 fees that they were charging me, such as miscellaneous fees, consulting fees, and things of that nature. So when I
Yeah.
started inquiring about them, they couldn't even explain to me what those fees were. Also, keep in mind, most 401ks are tied to the stock market, and you don't get to pick what stocks. you invest in is usually a fund within that 401k. So most people aren't like, if you can actually, this is public information. There are many companies that are being sued by their employees and former employees because they were being robbed blind in their 401ks.
I know. I think I recently, don't quote me on this, but I recently saw a really big payroll company getting sued, having a class action lawsuit against them for their treatment of a 401k.
I mean, it's
So
that there's not, it's so many different stories. I mean, you can probably find 20 different articles of companies being sued because of, what goes on with 401ks. Does anybody even know how 401k deals are struck? That person who, that financial institution goes to a company, takes the HR manager to lunch, wherever they want, and they say, hey, this is how much you're going to make every month of this 401k if you sell it for us. Boom. And that's it. A lot of the times it's HR managers that are managing these things, and they themselves aren't, financially educated. They just know, they have a relationship with this company and they trust this company, so they're going to start sharing that knowledge with their employees. Isn't it
I,
ironic? Isn't it ironic that they make you invest in it? I know companies. Let's say you don't invest in a 401k, even after a year, they roll you into it without your consent.
wow.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's
And is it,
another thing to be on the lookout for.
isn't it funny that back in the day there were pensions and they took pensions away, and now you have 401ks. So that's because they wanted to put all the risk back on the consumer. Not to mention, if you're not watching it consistently, first of all, a lot of people they just invest in it because their job suggests it, but they don't realize when you turn 65 and a half and you start drawing on it, you got to pay taxes. If the economy crashes, your money goes with it. So it's a volatile vehicle. You know, most people they investing aggressively in it when it should be kind of conservative if they're a little older. So I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying make sure you're aware of what's going on within your 401k. Talk to that financial institution that's holding it. Get a second opinion. Have someone look at it that knows how those engines work. Like I said, I took the money out of mine and I started investing in real estate. I ate those tax penalties because I knew I wanted my money where I can control it. I can have leverage versus someone else having leverage over me.
Yeah.
So those are for my viewers that actually, that might have a 401k and are working with a financial institution. I would encourage you to log in, look at where your money's being split up, where it's going, and make those phone calls to that company and start talking to them about what your, retirement goals are so that you could be on a path to being successful during retirement. Because keep
Yeah.
in mind, you're going to be taxed at a higher rate when you start taking it out.
Yeah, and definitely big, big thing. Start reading the fine print. Look at the fees.
Definitely
Ask
look at the
about
fees.
the fees.
Start looking at how you're being taxed.
Yeah.
So those are some of the things that matter.
Yeah, that's awesome. I, so Gilberto, how do my viewers follow you on social media? What's the best way to get in touch with you if they want to get in touch with you? Like, how
So,
can we continue the conversation?
so if you just look my name up, Gilberto Herrera, I'm on all social medias. You'll find me that way, and I will include my contact information in the link.
Amazing. And Remus, yes, you need to research the funds in your 401k.
Yeah, Remus is
Like,
my accountant, so he keeps me abreast on all this stuff.
ah,
We we actually
amazing.
we actually just started a business together, so
Yeah,
it's great when you and your accountant can go in a business together.
that's awesome. That is the one thing that I will tell you, don't skimp on. You need an awesome accountant. I
Right.
know that my accountant is somebody that I can call at any given time and have like a 2 hour during working hours. I'm not saying call your accountants after hours. Don't do that. But I can call him and have a 2 hour discussion about how and where I should be putting my money and all the different things that I should and can be taking advantage of. And that type of information is priceless.
Well, what's priceless is having someone such as yourself be, working with someone of the likes of you. That what's priceless is you get to do all the research for them and make life easier for them. So whatever your fee is, brings a peace of mind, and that within itself is priceless.
Yes. Thank you. All right.
So so again, she's gonna pick a random person, and she's got a gift for you. Please
Yes.
share this video with everyone in your network. Encourage them to watch this. We're gonna keep the conversation going, but this type of information is vital. They don't teach it in school. Most of us, I know where I come from, don't get it at home. I think a lot of us we're scared to have these type of conversations at the dinner table. You know, when in all actuality, it should be passed down. You should be trained on this from the time you start handling money.
Yeah. I want people to start having these conversations at the dinner table. I want people to start talking about money and not hiding from it. And it's not tacky. Like talk about it, learn about it. It is so important to changing your relationship with money and to start using it as a tool. You need to talk about it.
Right. Your money should be your slave. You shouldn't be a slave to your money. It should be
Yes.
working hard, way harder than you. Put it to work.
Yes,
You know,
that
ma-
that that is like gospel.
yeah, your money should be producing little money trees for you.
Love it.
And
Love
if
it.
they want more information on that, if you're in Birmingham, you should know how to reach me and tell them how they can reach you for my listeners in Birmingham.
Yes. So, financial underscore sharktress on Instagram. Financial sharktress Galit Sadiq on Facebook. Basically, just look up the sharktress, look up financial sharktress, and you will find me. I would love to speak to each and every one of you. I also have an online school with mini courses on all different topics in financial literacy, and I'm constantly adding new courses. So that's my Sharktra Success School because I teach you how to be a badass shark with your money. Um, so
All right.
as you can see, I'm all about the ocean and sharks. That's a conversation
Here.
for a different day.
So another one of my financial literacy gurus just hopped on, Mr. Kamante Kelly. He and I have these discussions consistently, and to the point where people stop talking to me and him and I because we like to spread the truth, and some people you know think that the truth is what they've been taught consistently. But when you start doing the research, we often find that we're being sold on this American dream idea just to continue to keep us as consumers and not investors.
Yeah,
So
that
here we're actually working on an event in Birmingham together to bring more of this information, particularly to small business owners. So be on the lookout for that as well.
amazing. I need to go to Birmingham. There's
Come on,
stuff going on.
whenever you're ready, we will lay out the blue carpet for you.
Awesome. All right, I'm on my way. Let's go.
Awesome.
All right. All right.
Anything else you have
So
for our viewers?
that's it for tonight, and I'm gonna let people go. I know it's probably getting late for most people, and we've shared a ton of information. So if you have questions on any of it or want to delve deeper into any of the topics, comment here or reach out to us personally. And I know especially from my end, but I'm sure from Gilberto's end as well. We're happy to delve deeper with you and
Absolutely.
yeah, be a resource for you.
Yep. So let's recap a little bit. You need to be saving now. Don't wait till the perfect time. You need to be paying yourself first.
Yes.
You need to be making your money for you, making your money work for you harder than you work for yourself. And before you invest in anything, make sure you do the research. I use
Yeah.
a phrase consistently, and it's called, I say trust but verify. So we trust a lot of people, but we still need to do our own research. One, so that we can know it's the right vehicle for us, and two, so that we can be educated on it. It's one thing for someone to tell us something, but it's another thing to be educated on it and share input with that person. That goes a long way.
Yeah, even if you're not the one controlling your money, even if you're using someone else to invest for you, you should always understand how it's being invested and be able to look at it and see what the status of it is at any time. That's
Awesome.
huge.
That's definitely true. Well, thank you so much for having me. I look forward to doing more work with you, and
Yeah.
you know, I look forward to seeing who's going to win this little prize of yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. It was amazing, 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 amazing having you here. You brought so much to the table, and so I'm so happy to be able to give this gift to my viewers and to everyone who shared. One of you is going to be a lucky winner of one of my mini courses tonight.
Awesome.
So
So
we
thank you for Brittany for making this happen by way of your marketing consultant too.
yes, love my marketing team. All right, have a great night, and I will see all of you on our next Money Monday. Night.
Good night.